Hello and welcome everybody that's just joining in. We'll get started in about 1 minute here. Please share in the chat where you're calling in from. Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's wellness webinar. Before we begin, as you're joining in, please share in the chat where you are calling in from. Thank you so much for joining us for today's wellness webinar. We're so happy that you're here joining us today. Our topic is navigating relationships. My name's Anna Miller, and I'm the Wellbeing Program Manager with the Healthier Together team. And I've got the rest of the team here today to go over navigating relationships. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. This webinar is recorded, and the recording will be sent out to all attendees. And then we also upload the recording to our YouTube channel, so you can find it there. We will be sharing the slide deck with everybody as well. And you may have noticed that the live transcript is enabled. You have the option to disable those captions at the bottom if you'd like. And then if you have any questions throughout, please share in the chat. Got the rest of the team here answering questions throughout. So please feel free to share any ideas, questions that you have, and we can make sure we get to those. A quick reminder is Healthier Together is your one-stop shop for everything health and wellness. So if you have not done so already, please utilize the steps to sign up for Healthier Together here. And like I said, this will be sent out to everybody afterwards, and you'll be able to access the slide deck and all of the links that we share. We often take for granted how much personal relationships affect us and how they change our lives for better or for worse. In a society where we are connected more than ever, it can be hard to keep our relationships healthy. These healthy relationships are a vital component of our health and well-being. There's a lot of evidence that shows that strong relationships contribute to a long, healthy, and happy life. The goal of today's content is to provide you with another way to understand your connections so that you can encourage thoughtful communication and help aid in fostering empathy and compassion. So we have a quick chat question to get you thinking about your relationships. Please share in the chat your response. What is a relationship in your life that you are looking to improve at the moment? So do you have maybe a strained relationship with family or friends, or are you struggling to communicate with a colleague? If you're willing to share, please post in the chat a relationship that you are currently working on. Trying to think about different relationships that you have in your life. So please share those in the chat for others to see. And as you do that, I will turn it over to Amanda, as she will be leading kind of the bulk of our webinar today.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me today. My name is Amanda Patterson. I am also on the Healthier Together wellness team. And I could not be more excited to be here to talk to you guys about this today. This is by far my favorite topic to talk about. I learned about it about 8 years ago, and I have continuously used this on a daily basis. So I'm hoping that what I talk to you about today, you can continue and take this forward as well. So just a couple things about what really is the purpose of what we're doing here and why we're talking about this personality training. And number one is to understand yourself. when we talk about navigating relationships, we truly need to understand ourselves as a person first before we can give our best self to somebody else. Also, it is a communication tool. So what we learn about today, you can take this from here and really help build your relationships with better communication based off of different personality types. And then the last one is really taking this forward and reiterating the fact that when we are in a relationship or a conversation with somebody, the number one thing that we should be focusing on is to understand them first without needing to be understood. And if there's one thing you take away from this training today, this is one of the main things, is to constantly, maybe even write this down somewhere, is to understand before being understood. I think it's such an easy thing that is oftentimes missed. When we think about, if we went into every conversation or every relationship with this purpose, can you imagine how much better our relationships are going to feel, knowing that they feel trust in you and you can really build that based off of just this one thing. All right, so what are we talking about today? Now, we are talking about colors for personalities. Now, I will reiterate, you guys may have done this. I've even seen some people at Medtronic with the Lego cubes and blocks of your 4 colors, which is awesome. This is very similar to that, but this is just a little bit tweaking of traits and the colors for there. So just to throw that out there. The other thing I want to just ask, and maybe you throw up your hands, but who has done a Myers-Briggs test or Strength Finders, maybe the Enneagram, love languages? I don't know. There's probably a whole bunch else. Yes, me. I love them all, and I think they are such great tools. But if I were to tell you that I am an ESFJ, what are you going to take with that? Probably not very much, unless you were an ESFJ and really understand Myers-Briggs. That's a personality type. There are so many different types of personality tests and types out there that with these other tests, sure, you can learn about yourself for self-development, but really, how do you take that into a relationship? And so that's what the colors are here for. It is so easy. Literally, you can figure somebody's color within 2 minutes, and we're going to talk about that today. I love the picture of the bike because it shows you that every single person is going to be made up a little bit of every color. But what we're here today is that most of us have a primary color and then one that is secondary. So if you have a pen or pencil around you and a piece of paper, I highly suggest you just drawing out a plus sign, and then you can even write blue, white, green, and red, just as a visual for you to continue as we move forward. So we're going to break this down, but we're going to talk about the main drivers of each personality. So we have the blue, which is the primary driver behind them, and the way they think and the way they do things is fun. We have the whites, which are over to the, to the right, which their primary reason for doing things is for helping others. Then we have the greens. They are going to be primarily about the facts. And then we have red, which is going to be money driven. So, all right, let's dive in. No one color is better than the other. They are all very different, and we need them all. All right, so here we go. First color is blue. This is your first extroverted color. So we're starting at the top of this plus sign, and they are driven by fun. So what are some of the things that would associate to a blue that you can easily pick them out on? Well, some of the traits of them, they're verbal, and they're going to be visionary type of people. So they're going to be looking to the future in a big picture type of way. They are optimistic, so they are looking at things as a glass half full. They are very encouraging and motivating. This is the person that if you last minute want to go on a trip or a girls' weekend or a fishing trip, you're going to call a blue because they're going to say, yeah, why not? They are going to be risk takers. So they're not going to sit and think about too many things. Again, they're spontaneous. So they're just going to do that. Maybe it's with an activity or even a purchase. They're helpful. These are your relationship driven type of people, and they are very loyal. Now, I hate using the term weakness, but it's the easiest way to describe some of these things. But a blue can be seen as irresponsible. And if we think about some of those traits of being spontaneous and risk takers, especially to maybe a different color, they're going to say, wow, this person's got to slow down a little bit. They do have a little bit of a harder time focusing. They're going to be your dreamers. So they're sitting here daydreaming. Again, they're in the future. So they're thinking about what can come, but maybe not so much realistic. They can talk too much. That can be distracting. Like my 4-year-old son in preschool right now, he keeps telling me he gets in trouble because he's talking too much. He's a blue. I already know that. And they are not very organized. So maybe their closet isn't, folded clothes. We're just putting it away and calling it good. The way that a blue thinks is they want to be the life of the party. So they want to be in the middle, in the center, maybe even taking the lead on some things. They also don't mind stirring the pot. So if there's something that needs to be said or a question asked, they're not afraid to jump in and do it. These people love teamwork. So when we're talking about our people at work, if you can get them on a team, a blue is going to thrive there. We already mentioned a glass half full, and they do want to be liked by all. So they could, quote unquote, be your people pleaser type of person, where they just want to make sure that I am friends with this person and this person and this person. They don't care. They just want to be friends with everybody. So maybe some of this is like, oh yeah, this is totally me. Or maybe you're like, nope, this is not me at all, but I know one. So how do we communicate with these type of people is you want to let them talk. Give them the opportunity to ask them open-ended questions instead of just yes and no, because they are happy to share about it. Use hand gestures. You can see I'm already doing this a lot myself. So maybe you've already picked out one of my colors. Use pictures to tell a story. These people, again, we're visionary, and I'm going to say we because you know what? I'm a blue. So I'll just say that right now. Get personal with them. They love to build relationships. So you can ask them questions about their family or friends or what they do in their personal life. They want to share these things. And avoid the details of all the weeds, the little tiny things, because they don't care. Let's just face it. All right. So I love this picture, for the visionary type of people out there that are blues. This is a blue. They are jumping, having fun, taking a risk, and not worrying about necessarily the outcome, but they're just trying something new. And then another thing about these personalities that I love is you can spot colors very easily. So these are just 2 pictures to really show how you could spot a blue. So here's a girl with tattoos. She's not afraid to cover them. You maybe even see people with crazy colored hair. They're not afraid of what they look like or the fun things because they're doing it just to express themselves. I love this picture of camping because they're doing outdoor fun things, very laid back kind of style. So this is not going to be a button up type of person if you see them walking around. Athletic, leisure type of clothing is what a blue is naturally going to like to wear. All right, we got 1 color done. We got 3 more to go. And hopefully, and maybe if you start seeing some of this as we learn it, chat, you could even say that's totally me, or maybe that's totally my kid or my husband or wife or whatever it is. All right, so we're going to move to the right side now. So we're moving to white. So this is your first introverted color. So we had an extroverted and an introverted, and these are driven by helping other people. So the whites are going to be a natural servant type of person. They're very caring. Same as the blue, they're very relationship driven. However, it may take them a little bit longer to warm up than a blue because they're introverted. They're calm and very even keeled. They're great at adapting towards change. They love to listen. They like to listen more than talk. So sometimes, if you're with a white and you want them to talk, just know it may take some more time. They truly do prefer listening more. They live in the moment. They love physical touch. So this is where we can start to combine even some of those other personality tests, like the love language. Physical touch is one. You can hug a white. They love hugs, 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 hugs. And then they're just a little bit slower paced. So they don't need to be that life of the party as that blue was. Everything is just a little more day-to-day, even keeled with them. A weakness, some of the weaknesses of a traits of a white is they give away things for free. So this may be, we think about someone in small business who has samples of things. They just want to give as much of it away as possible and without necessarily making a profit. They do not like conflict, so they're going to be that peacekeeper all the time, or maybe that person that says like, I don't care. When they're asking a question, that's the way they think. They don't care. Like when my husband asks me to go to dinner, where do I want to go? I will always say, I don't care, because I truly do not care. Some of the things with a white, they can become codependent. And I really think of this one for kids. Those of you that have little kids, if you have a white, kind of the servant type of person, I have a white as a son, and really grooming them up for confidence and to know that they don't have to necessarily be with somebody or maybe an extroverted person to get their voice out. Feelings can get hurt easily. And, again, as we're looking from the outside in, some people can view whites as followers, which they are definitely not. A white person, the way they think is they do not want to be recognized. So, as we think about like at Medtronic, for example, recognition to send recognized points, a white would actually like that because, it's behind a computer. There's no blast out about them, but they might feel really uncomfortable if it's getting sent to a lot of people saying praise, praise, praise. They might feel like, oh no, please don't do that. And a white truly means no harm. So that is not their intent. A little bit of the same as the blue with the people pleasing. They just want to make people happy. So how to communicate with somebody that is white is to speak very softly, and they are very emotional and empathetic type of people. So if you want them to understand them, start using some words along with that. And again, hugs, 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 and get to know them personally. Same kind of thing as a blue. They share that as well, but know that it may take some more time. So some of these personality traits, it's very quick in relationship buildings, and others is going to take a little bit more time, but that's okay. We just got to work with who they are. A couple things, again, on how you can spot a white is even just for clothing, they're very covered up. So, something's going to come up to their neck, very simple, very clean type of style. For ladies, maybe they don't wear a ton of makeup because, again, they're very simple. They're not looking to find the best of the best. They don't mind even shopping at a Goodwill or something secondhand. They love that. They're supporting the community. They don't need to have, these crazy new things. And some careers of a white, I have a picture of a nurse here. That's a perfect example. Or teaching, pastoring, something, working in nonprofits, something where they're truly making a difference in people's lives. All right, so we've covered two colors. So again, on the plus sign, we went from blue to white, and now we're going to the bottom. So this is our first color that we're going to see that is polar opposite of one. So the blue is at the top of the line and green is down below. So greens are driven by facts. They want the data. They want those weeds. Remember the blue, they don't want them. They don't care about them. They want the big picture, but the green under here really wants to know everything. So some of characteristics of a green are their black and white thinking. They can be sarcastic. They're very predictable. They love a schedule. Oh my gosh, my best friend is a green, and she schedules in when she's going to vacuum. All right, that is a true story. And I loved it because I was like, oh yeah, you are a green girl. They're analyzers, again, very, very cleaned and organized. So this is the person that is making their bed in the morning. Their towels, in their bathroom are laid out. If you walk to their desk, everything is organized, maybe even by color. For kids, I've seen a couple greens. My kids are not green. I have no green in my household at all, but aligning little cars by size or by color. It's so fun to see how different these are. We got a couple greens in here. I like it. They're bold, but on the flip side, they are quiet in crowds because they are introverted and they're very even keel. So again, you got this loud blue down here and you got the green kind of calm, even keel down here. Some of the weaknesses of a green would be they want perfection, but it can turn into procrastination because they don't know when to move forward. Yes, I do like to point out how green Kyle is. But I love this saying. I learned this before at a leadership summit, and it's called get mo. This is the best thing for a green to ever learn is get mo, which means good enough to move on. So as they're getting stuck in needing all the details, at some point, you just got to say, yep, we're good. Go ahead and move forward. So with that, they want all the answers before maybe starting something. And they tend to see things from their perspective only. They have a hard time opening up that lens. Remember, we have the blue visionary down here, and the green is a little more tunnel vision of just seeing the way that they see things. A green does not like surprises, so don't throw a surprise party for a green. Again, they love routines and schedules. They see things as a glass half empty first. They love to work, especially if it has something to do with organizing and data. Again, kind of same thing. They want the ugly, the bad, and then the good. And they have a little bit of a hard time understanding the go with the flow. So for greens, if you're going to throw last minute things, at them, they might have a really hard time grasping that. So how to communicate with greens is ask them detailed questions. They love to talk the details and the facts. So ask them that. Give them time to warm up. So they're introverted, so it's not going to happen right away. It might even take months until you really develop this relationship with them. Cut the fluff. So they don't need all of this. They want detailed facts. Use numbers and avoid yes and no questions, because this is actually how they would prefer to answer them in yes and no. But we need to challenge them a little bit and ask the open-ended questions. All right. So I love, again, just some pictures on how to spot greens. So some careers, a lot of greens are at Medtronic, as we even saw in the stats here or in the chat. But they are going to be things that are using science and using facts to determine what's coming next. Your engineers, your scientists, all that fun stuff. Wellness. We have wellness people, greens on our team, anything. And I love the style of the green because it's very clean and crisp. If they're in jeans, they're going to have 5 pairs of the same jeans or cargo shorts or whatnot. It's very clean, nothing too loud, very simple. All right. Oh yeah, the green's heaven right here. People look, this would be my heaven too. I'm not a green. The problem is if this were at my house, which we're all a little blue, this would be messed up in like a day. So green's heaven right now. Yes, I love some of these comments, you guys, I am seeing as they're coming in. And yes, you are going to have a little bit of every color, just kind of how we talked about, with that bike. You're going to have pieces of it, but really what it is there's a primary behind who we are. And even taking this back to thinking about who you were as a kid is when everything kind of started. All right, the last color is red, which is our second extroverted color, and they are driven by money. They're driven by status and continuous growth. All right, so some of the traits of a red are, they're warriors. They're very strong, passionate people. They can be authoritative. and they're very determined. These people are also very confident, and they're goal setters. So we think about, in business or even in kids. I have a daughter that's a red. She is constantly going, constantly pushing forward. They're kind of like the leaders of the pack. These people have no filters. I'm sure we've all met some of those, or maybe you are one. And I think it's great because I look at some of these people and I think, wow, I wish I could do that sometimes. There's no sugarcoating with a red. They just want to say it for what it is and kind of cut the fluff, kind of like that green. And they're not afraid because they're not people pleasing like the white, who is polar opposite of them. They just are very bold and pushing forward. And they're always growing. What's next? What's another business I can start? What's the next job I can start? I haven't read, but these chat comments are making me laugh, you guys. Some of the weakness for a red is they can be seen as the boss, which, the boss is a good thing, but maybe a better way to look at that would be like, hey, you're the leader, instead of looking at them as the boss. They wear their emotions on their face. So there is no hiding what a red is feeling based off of what their face is saying. Sometimes they could come across as rude, especially because of that. They don't know how to control this as much. And with a red, they can't be around too many of the same color. So if you think about all those traits, having too many reds together would not be a good thing because one of them can't take the lead. They're going to all want to take the lead. And also for the reds, the burnout rate is the highest of a red because they are constantly going, constantly trying to achieve something and do what's next, but then they can fall back and really burn out pretty fast. The way they think is they are big picture thinkers. So just like the blue was the other extroverted color. So they're thinking big. Entrepreneurial thinking, what can they start? They're very competitive. So if you're having a pumpkin carving contest coming up, the red is going to want to win. They are not just in this, to put it out there and to get a sticker. They want the trophy. They want everyone to know what they're doing, but only if it's good. If there isn't anything good, they want to kind of keep that to themselves. And also, they're always proving themselves. They're always, again, we're talking about that achiever type of person. So they're constantly trying to prove themselves for the good. My husband is a hard red, so I very much know about this color. Communication with a red is speaking in terms of how it will benefit them. So instead of kind of bringing that focus, they love to talk about themselves. They don't care, and that's a good thing. But ask them those things. They want growth talk. What's coming next? How do we get past this? Looking into the future. Again, talking about things that they're interested in. And also, reds love confident people. So if you're maybe not feeling super confident going into a conversation with a red, we say, fake it till you make it, because they're going to trust and respect you so much more. And then if you walk away and you're like, whoo, that was really hard, that's okay. But they want the solutions and the ideas for what you have. And, side note, but one of the funny things, even just internally with our team, we've all done this many, many times, gone through this training, but we'll say like, put your red pants on, because this is the color where it's like, you got to get stuff done. We got to put the red pants on to get there. And it's like instantly when you say just something as easy as that, exactly what you got to do. All right. So things on how to spot a red, again, they love to work, and there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes they have a hard time turning it off. So maybe their desk looks a little bit more like this, maybe not as clean cut as the green, but they are there. They love to do it. Or maybe they're the person that is going to be on stage. They're speaking, or they're singing, or in theater, or something where they're getting recognized from publicly. And then a red style is very fashionable. They love clean, bright, bold colors. So they're not going to get stuck necessarily in the black, white, and grays. They're not afraid to throw on some yellow shoes and some bold print. So that's a nice, easy way to spot a red. All right. Well, that was a lot in a big preview. So typically this training, I've done it in like a 3-hour training, not in a 25-minute training. So if you guys have very specific questions, please feel free to reach out to me personally. But we're just going to talk a little bit before I'm finished about how we put this together. So again, instead of thinking this as a personality test, which I saw some of you were asking if there's a test for this, there's not a test, because really this is just a tool. This is a tool for you to kind of take some of these things, and maybe what you want to do is print this out and highlight through the colors which ones really stand out for you if you're having a hard time on deciphering which color maybe you are most like. That is a very good visual and help. But these are just examples, and what I shared with you today is the colors at its strongest. So you may be a white, but you may also have green in you or blue in you too. So the colors and examples that I shared are just the peak strong traits of each color. I mentioned at the beginning is that, typically what happens is you have one dominant color and then one secondary color. So you could be a blue white or a blue red, but you couldn't be a blue green or a red white, because those are completely polar opposite on the spectrum. So you're going to share a little bit. I saw some saying like, gosh, I feel like I have a little bit of everything, which is awesome. If you are not super, super strong in one, I think about my mom when I did this, and she is almost the most centrally person I know that has almost equal traits of every single one, which is a great thing to have as well, because then you can kind of shift to who you're with. So taking this one step further, we talk about, how we put this together. And I mentioned that you can figure this out within 2 minutes of knowing a person. And I love this. It is such a simple tool, whether you are meeting new people, you have people on your team that maybe you want to get to know a little bit more personally, your friends, family, anything. And it's called form. So you asking these questions based around these 4 simple topics. And so what it is the F stands for family and friends. So it's more questions around what is their family and friend dynamic? Who do they live with? What do they do with them? When you go out with a friend, if they're saying like, oh, I go rollerblading and we go, to the park to go rock climbing, that'll instantly make you think like, okay, they're doing something a little spontaneous, a little crazy. Maybe that's a blue. Or maybe they're like, yeah, we like to go sit at a quiet coffee shop and, I'm in a book club, then maybe that's going to drag you to think, oh, maybe they're a little more introverted if these are the types of activities they want to do. So we're listening for those cues. Next, we ask about what do they do for their occupation? What do they do for work? And then beyond that, you're trying to learn what do they like about it and what maybe don't they like. So that's getting a preference of, where are they spending a lot of their time? For us in wellness, I think of, we're helping people and they're mic'd up and on the TV and, so that's going to automatically maybe put you like, okay, they have to have a little bit of extroverted characteristics in there to think about what they do. Or if they're saying, I love, I'm a scientist, I'm researching, that's maybe going to make you think like, okay, they love facts, they love data, that green. And recreation, again, what do you do for fun? And nobody's idea of fun is the same. So this is a great question right here to nail down what they prefer to do, on their free time outside of work. And then a message is basically, just wrapping up your conversation, but you can get this all done within 2 minutes. This is actually how, even when I hire staff, for those of you that are managers out there, I typically will do this first so that I have an idea before we even dive into the quote unquote normal interview questions of what type of person I'm going to be talking to and how I'm going to change my questions based off of who they are moving forward. All right, so why is this really important? And again, the main thing is to understand yourself. But by understanding yourself, you can take these tools into all your relationships. There's so many personality tests out there, but they're hard to remember. And if you were to say, oh, hey, Anna, what is your Enneagram type? Even if she were to just know it off the top of your head, chances are you would have no idea what that actually means. So yeah, she's an 8, I'm a 2, but you know what? That probably doesn't mean very much to each other. And great leaders, and I know that you guys are all leaders. You're all on this call. You want to continue to learn more. You can adapt to who you are talking to. That does not mean that you are adapting who you are as a person, but that you can use the tools that you've been given to really connect with them on a different way so that they feel understood. And lastly, again, great leaders, they can use this to give them an opportunity to grow. So like I mentioned, I am a blue. I hardly have any green in me at all. And I can say that I don't care. That's okay. But I have Kyle on my team who is. I can learn a lot from him because he is polar opposite than me on a lot of the ways that we think. So I can use these tools that I have now to say, okay, how do I learn this? Or I can pull him in when I know that maybe the blue is not sufficient in creating a new report or something. Kyle's eyes are going to be much stronger and much better than mine would be on something like that. All right, we're getting close, guys. All right, and teamwork, kind of as I was just mentioning right there, is every single team, and whether it's a team at work or a team at home or a sports team, we all need these colors because they have so many positive things that they all bring in. So I'm just going to highlight, at work. So if you have, let's say, a new project or something that's going to need to come up, you really want the reds and the blues on your team to be part of that planning meeting, that part of that future driven, what's coming next, let's shoot ideas, because maybe a white person in there is not going to feel very confident. So they might sit back being like, oh gosh, this is just really hard for me to speak up because I'm overpowered by these extroverted people in this room. Again, you would use the reds and the blues to possibly then deliver the message or to pitch the message to whoever it needs to go to. You pull in the greens then to really help organize and figure out the details. So maybe, you got the idea. Now we say, all right, now we need your help. How do we do this? Because this is where you're strong. And then we need the whites to come in to really help bring the team together, build the relationships, whether it's internally on the team or externally out of the team. And they are really good at inclusivity. So pull them in to help them bring it all together, and everyone is going to feel that they're equally putting in their place because they're speaking to things that they truly are good at. All right. And then, just kind of as we wrap up here, again, I see a lot of questions coming through. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk with you through these things, but just a couple things as we move forward, is to print off these slides. You guys are all going to get this, or maybe you want to watch the recording and start jotting down things that you're like, yes, this is me, or that relationship at the beginning in the chat that you said that you really want to focus on. Maybe focus on that person instead. If it's your son or daughter and you're trying to figure out who they are, write down their strong characteristics of certain things. And maybe that's going to really help you guide to speak to who they are. With that is being open and honest with yourself. I know I did this with my husband when we first started it, and he had a hard time admitting that he was driven by money and achieving and growing. And it's like, that is not a bad thing. There's no bad about any of these characteristics and traits because we need them all. So just truly sitting down and saying, what makes me tick? What makes me want to do more or be better or grow? And that's going to help you answer a lot of these things. The next is to, try this and practice it on the closest people in your life. So if you're like, oh my gosh, my kid is a blue, I can see that now. I'm not a blue, but my kid is. Maybe start bringing in some of these different aspects, asking them these big questions, and even talking about the future. They want to talk about that. They're excited. And again, we speak to people to understand them, not for us to be understood. We want to form people by asking them those 4 questions about friends and family, occupation, recreation, and wrapping it up with the message. And again, just taking this and using it just within simple conversations. Take this to your team. Maybe you found this as super helpful. Take it to your spouse or that other person that you're really hoping, and say, hey, can you just listen to this? And maybe it will spark some really awesome conversation. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Such good stuff. And thank you, Amanda, for sharing and going over the colors. As Amanda alluded to, it's something that our team really utilizes for better communication, getting tasks done, and especially with maybe turnover as well. Getting someone new on the team, we can kind of better acquaint ourselves to that person, and then just have that smooth segue and grabbing them and really making them part of our team quickly. So I want to share some additional resources really quickly that are available to you through Healthier Together. So first off, a couple Journeys courses. If you're not familiar with Journeys are daily self-guided courses to help you build healthy habits. Each journey has a topic of focus with information and simple action items for you to complete over the duration of the course. You can find Journeys under the Health tab or through the Programs tab on Healthier Together by searching Journeys. So the first one that I found is called Explore Your Identities. This one's a great one, which is associated with the healthy habit called Common Ground. And it's a 13-day journey for you to learn and challenge yourself to stand back and look at social identities in yourself and others. One last Journeys that really stood out to me was the Choose a New Mindset journey. And this it is focused around relieving stress. But as we know, stress can sometimes affect others around us. So with this 10-day journey, this one can help you learn how to recognize your stressors and help you calm yourself calm your stress by finding positivity. Finding positivity for yourself can help spread that positivity to others. And then I have 3 more here utilizing the Rethink Care application. For those that have used Will, Rethink Care is now Will. But some great mindfulness sessions if you're really looking for those kind of resources and options. I found one called Communicate and Connect. With this one, it's a little more focused on the parental success category. And so with this one, it focuses on skillfully creating a circle of care through effective communication and social support. The second Rethink Care one that really stood out to me was Deepen Relationships. This one has 6 courses, and it can help you improve connections to yourself and others. And then finally, the Foster Healthy Relationships course. This one, as you can see, learn skills to develop and feed healthy relationships for a happy and fulfilling life. And then these last couple slides here, just some additional tips for healthy relationships. You can come back to these slides and read a little bit further if you'd like to. A lot of it reiterates what Amanda was talking to in regard to the color personalities, but just kind of in a maybe a little different perspective, a little different wording too. So 6 different tips that you can look into if you come back to the slide deck.
All right, so global, our upcoming events and opportunities. We have our Global Step Challenge coming in October 17th through the 28th. Join a team of up to 5 participants to see if your team can be the team that moves the most within those 2 weeks. You will not only earn points, but you also will earn increased energy and fun with your teammates. Follow the link below to register at Healthier Together. Our monthly fitness challenge for October is positive posture. Each day of the challenge has you performing stretches and other different exercises to help create mobility and stability throughout your whole upper to mid back and shoulders. This will help you be more positive and confident with your posture. Below are the links to the PDF and instruction video. And then the holidays can be a stressful time for a number of reasons. So be sure to join us on October 27th for our last webinar of the year. We will be discussing tips on how to stay on top of your nutrition, mental well-being, and be active throughout the holidays. You can also get the invite there below. And as a reminder, for our weekly opportunities, take a physical and mental pause to distress and re-energize your day. Under each column, you'll find links to add invites to your calendar. From guided meditations and stretch sessions in our Fit Breaks to live exercise classes on our YouTube channel and office-friendly Fit Breaks, these are all excellent ways to stay mentally and physically healthy. And everyone, thank you for coming today. We really appreciate your attendance and feedback. We'd love to hear one takeaway from today's webinar. As you do so, don't forget you can earn Healthier Together points for attending. When you receive the recording and slide deck, come back to this slide and click the link. And if you haven't already, be sure to join our Yammer community for reminders and news of upcoming Healthier Together resources and events. Thank you again today. This is one of my favorites types of the personality training and figuring different things out. So be sure to reach out to either Amanda, Anna, Kyle, Kelly, our newest member, or myself if you have any other questions or want direct guidance. Thanks again for coming, and we hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks so much, everyone.
You have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.